अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. To who that revealed the truth that is unfragmented, infinite, timeless divinity, and which pervades the entire universe, movable and immovable, to that Guru, my salutations. Hello and welcome to the DSCA Teachers' Day Celebrations 2020. We come from a rich tradition of the Guru Shishya Parampara, which celebrates the unique bond between the Guru or teacher and Shishya or the student. The Guru is the mentor, the guide, or the leading light who guides the student towards the truth by dispelling the darkness of ignorance. Thus, the role of a teacher is seen as an exalted position that is equated with divinity. How relevant is this Guru in the present day and time of Google, WhatsApp, Insta, and Alexa? What is the role of a teacher, and is a teacher even necessary? I believe a teacher is as necessary today as of yore. It is the teacher or Guru who can help convert all the information that we get into knowledge. Only a Guru can steer us in the right direction that will help us augment our strength and overcome our weakness in a journey of joy and discovery. Especially in a course like architecture, where there is a lot of one-on-one interaction between the teacher and the student, the influence of a teacher is that much more powerful. On this occasion of Teachers' Day, where we commemorate a great teacher like Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, we would like to honor 4 such teachers and academicians of Karnataka who have influenced an entire generation of architects in Karnataka and beyond. Dr. K.S. Anantakrishna, Professor M. Nagendra, Professor S.V. Ravindra, and Professor Mukunda. Thank you.
A warm hello and good day to all. It's a pleasure to greet all of you. It's a great honor to address young faculty on this occasion of Teachers' Day. We all know how challenging it is to teach architecture and to create an environment conducive to learning architecture. A good institute of architectural learning is a place of inspiration where individuals of varied interests and potential are fostered on their different paths and encouraged to awareness of their strengths. A good teacher is a nurturer who can treat each student as a unique individual with distinct and different perceptions and potential and help them blossom to their best level of maturity and fruition. We are co-learners on this journey and every day is different. The interaction between the teacher and the taught acquires different dimensions at different times. Some individuals become role models and a source of inspiration for students. The students are enabled to cope with academic and professional and life issues by positive influencers. Synergetic learning environments help to build confidence, which in turn encourages critical thinking and character building. The ability to question enables continuous learning in the balanced individual. I would say teaching is not for everyone, and teaching architecture has its particular challenges. On this Teachers' Day, I would like to salute those who have invested intensely of their time and energy to shape architectural academics in Karnataka. Thank you.
I would like to thank the Dayanand Sagar College of Architecture, especially the principal, Dr. Rama Subramanian, who has given me this opportunity to share my ideologies about architectural education on the occasion of the Teachers' Day, which is being celebrated on September 5th, 2000. I would like to share some of my thoughts on architectural academics, and I would like to state humbly that I have attempted in my long career of 38 years not only to preach but also to practice. And all of you will agree that practicing what we preach is a very difficult proposition. But I would like to believe that I have attempted that in a very small measure, no doubt. First of all, in architectural education, like in other related fields of education, it is always necessary to pursue a higher goal, to pursue a higher cause rather than lower causes is a very important ingredient of success in architectural academics. Incidentally, I would also like to call this pursuit of a higher goal as altruism and idealism. These terms may appear rather old-fashioned, but I firmly believe that an element of altruism, idealism, and the willingness to pursue a higher goal is very critical for contribution to the field. And I firmly believe that contribution to the field is the most critical thing and probably the only thing that matters. In a simple manner, what I mean by that, and I made a statement some time back in front of a large gathering of about 2,000 students, parents, and the management authorities, faculty. I would like to repeat that so it is very clear what is the meaning of the pursuit of a higher goal. I told the huge audience the occasion was the inauguration of the first year classes of not only architecture but also engineering. Therefore, we had a huge crowd, about 2,000. And the point I made was simple. I told the audience that my loyalty is not to my students of architecture. My loyalty is not to the teachers who are all my colleagues. My loyalty is not even to the management which controls me. And I would like to say that all the management authorities, they were all sitting on the dais. And then I said, my loyalty is not even to the architectural professionals, but my loyalty is to the higher cause of architectural education. I am coining that word for the first time. I'm not sure about it. I would call it academic fundamentalism. What is the meaning of academic fundamentalism, which I have attempted to practice? And I have paid a very high price for it. Academic fundamentalism simply means the willingness to pursue the higher goal, and also the willingness not to budge from it. Whatever may be, fundamentalism is the concept of academic rigor. Academic rigor, the concept, I borrowed from the IIM Bengaluru, where I was a student long back, from 1976 to 1981. For 5 years, I did my doctoral program. And what I learned there was the concept of academic rigor. What does it mean? It simply means that there has to be the depth of discussion about academic matters. In the classroom, the knowledge of the teacher has to be deep. It cannot be superficial. And the ability of the teacher to take on the students at the intellectual level. And all of you will agree that in the present situation, where the digital technology has advanced by leaps and bounds, the access to information is easy. So a teacher will have to be that much more careful and better prepared in order to satisfy the student community. And if a teacher is having this quality of academic rigor, I have no doubt in my mind that it will percolate to the student community and it will have very positive benefits on the School of Architecture. Last point I would like to make before I wind up is the concept of think tank for the school. A school needs to have a think tank. That means the strategy making for the growth of the school, to look at the competition and how to march ahead. I have had the good fortune to have an excellent think tank. And here I would like to remember the wonderful person, late Professor Sudhindra Yalvigi, with whom I worked very closely. And it may be rather surprising that so much of discussion we had only on academics and the architectural profession. We had hardly any discussion about our personal matters. And this think tank, the responsibility of the think tank is to steer the college in a certain direction. I am not talking about all these formal arrangements, this governing council, this, that, and all that, some 10, 15 people, they just come to the meeting and go away, they contribute nothing. They are totally alien to this field and they form the government. All that will not work. A think tank has to be from inside the school. It should consist of only the faculty members of the school who will plan the whole thing. I'll give you one. That think tank was responsible for the school winning a record number of awards. I don't know what is the number. Maybe 13 or 14 awards. So therefore, it is important that a school has a think tank, academic think tank, and guides all the academic activities of the school in a very intense manner. Thank you very much.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆ. ಈ ದಿನ ಒಬ್ಬ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಪ್ರತಿ ಸತಿನೂ ಸಹ ನನಗೆ ನೆನಪಾಗೋದು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ KS ಅನಂತಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅವರು. ಇವರು ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನದ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರ ಛಾಪನ್ನು ಮೂಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ರೂಪರೇಷೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಒಂದು ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಏನು ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಸಹ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಕಾರಣ ಅಥವಾ ಮೂಲವಾದಂಥ ಕಾರಣ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನಂತಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅವರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ, ನಾವು ಅವರನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ 18 ವರ್ಷ ಆದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಮೊದಲ ಬಾರಿಗೆ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. 18 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ 23 ವರ್ಷಗಳು ನನಗೆ ಆಗುವವರೆಗೂ ಸಹ ನಾವು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನಂತಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅವರ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಾಗಿ ವ್ಯಾಸಂಗ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಈ 18 ವರ್ಷ ಯಾಕೆ ನಾನು ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾಪ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಥಿಯರಿ ಪ್ರಕಾರ, ಒಂದು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ, ಟೆಂಡರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟು, ಆ್ಯಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟು, ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟು ಮತ್ತು ಸೋಲ್ಜರ್ ಪ್ರೂಫಿಂಗಿನ ಏಜು ಸಹ 18 ವರ್ಷದೊಳಗಡೆ ಮುಗಿದೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಅನಂತಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಛಾಪನ್ನು ಸಹ ಈ 18 ವರ್ಷ ಮುಗಿದ ನಂತರವೂ ಸಹ ನನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಬ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಯಲ್ಲ, ಅನೇಕ ಜನ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ, ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಂತಹ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಈ ತಮ್ಮ ಛಾಪನ್ನು, ತಮ್ಮ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತವನ್ನು, ತಮ್ಮ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅವರ ಜೀವನದ ರೂಪುರೇಷೆಗಳಿತ್ತು ಆ ರೂಪುರೇಷೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಕಲಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತಲ್ಲ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಆದರೆ ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಮೂಡಿಸಿದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಛಾಪ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಸದಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಪ್ರಾಬಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ, ಒಂದು ತತ್ವನ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದೇ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು, ಒಂದು ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತವನ್ನು ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ರಸ್ತೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಓಡಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗಲೂ ಸಹ ನಮಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ವಾಸ್ತುಶಾಸ್ತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ವಾಸ್ತು ವ್ಯಾಸಂಗ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಲಿತಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಛಾಪ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನಂತಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅವರಿಂದ, ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳಾಗಲಿ, ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ವೃತ್ತಿಯಾಗಲಿ, ಇದರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸಹ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನಂತಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅವರ ಛಾಪು ಎದ್ದು ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ಅವರ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವನ ನಾವು ಬರೀ 10-20% ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ಅವರ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತವನ್ನು ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೊಡುಗೆ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನನ್ನ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ ನನ್ನ ಈ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಈ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರ ದಿವಸ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಮರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತಾ ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Greetings to my fellow students. As a teacher is always an eternal student, as reflected again in the life and works of Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, in whose memory we are commemorating this day. Well, about teachers and teaching. Teaching is essentially a journey rather than a destination, for through the journey one finds one's own moorings, journeys towards excellence. In the process, even though the destination is not reached, the process makes him that much more excellent. The related aspect is one of voyage. It is a voyage of self-discovery of the individual, that is the teacher. Herein, we come across the idea that the staff and the students in the situation only act as means rather than end in making one realize his own potential and his own worth. The related aspect, that as far as teachers are concerned, you find that a teacher is like a candle which has the ability to light up, if not hundreds, maybe thousands of other candles. In the process, it perishes itself. Though not comparable with the glorious sun, its value will be seen when we don't, in the absence of the sun, that much more than compared to the sun. The three professions, that is architecture, that is teaching, and agriculture and medicine, all the three share the sense of commonality in the sense that they nurture. All the three don't own anything as such, but still they nurture the individual element and without getting the sense of ownership within one of them and contributing to the society. A teacher essentially knocks down the walls of ignorance in the minds of the student and brings in the streams and streaks of light, which light up all the corners of the mind, so that each corner in the light exposure finds its own worth later. Similarly, as per our tradition, we find that a teacher handholds the student, initially walks along with him in the front, later walks with him parallelly, sharing things and thoughts, and further on he steps back gracefully, allowing the student to go further and explore himself in the light of the truths and experiences of one's own rather than that of the teacher. This is important. The experiences of the student's own in the light of his own findings rather than the teacher's findings. Well, what is the takeaway from this small interlude we have today? Essentially, it is the art of teaching is an art. It is not an act, it is art. And closely related with art is the sense of creativity. And teaching is creative. And creativity can happen only when there is freedom of thought and action, subject to the realization that the thought and action are coupled with responsibility. Herein comes the related aspect of participative method of teaching compared to the prescriptive method, wherein in the participative method, both the student and the teacher go along exploring things, and the creative part is to know. You start from the known to the unknown and explore the possibilities which are inherent or probably were not there already. In the process, both of them get exposed to each other's inadequacies, each other's adequacies, and in the process, they also open up the various possibilities that can happen instead of a single result, as it happens in the case of the prescriptive model. The other aspect that is of consequence is the ability of the teacher to open up the limitations and show the possibilities. Every situation has a lot of limitations, but how to convert these limitations into possibilities, that is where the teacher steps in and completes the entire process. And the related aspect of the whole thing that is developed along these lines also include the act of listening. First, you learn to listen and listen to learn later. The act of listening is of utmost importance because it gives an opportunity for the entire case to be presented, and in the process, the solution may lie in the very problem that is being exposed, that's being discussed about, and the solution may be inherent, and the act of listening completely, empathetically, makes it possible to find the solutions there in itself. Here in the process, the creative process involves, and we use the words like can and may rather than should. When we use the words can and may, they always stand for opening up possibilities rather than should, where it is prescriptive and it's a top-down model which can be avoided in any creative process. The important thing is to know that a teacher is like a gardener. It's a gardener who brings in a seed, clears up the soil, puts a fence, plants the seed, removes the weeds, then waters and brings in light, and then he allows the plant to grow. He creates the right ambience for the seed to explode into a plant. When the time for an idea comes, nothing can stop it. And the analogy of the plant and the seed, that much more go coherently with this particular idea. And that's what a teacher does. He creates the ambience for the seed to emerge. All he's doing is nurturing it on a day-to-day basis, speaking to it, touching it, and thereby it receives enough attention and growth prospect for that to emerge as a plan. And what is more important is the transformation, the journey here from a teacher to a guru. A teacher only exposes the facts, information, whereas a guru makes it possible for the student to do these things himself. He propagates, he is like a propeller. In the process, you see that what we call the sense of Ghatakasha. A guru essentially empties the student, so that it's the Ghatakasha, the empty space, in which the student fills himself with his experiences of his own and from different ways, and then becomes a blazing sun in the process rather than a reflective mood, which happens with normal or ordinary teaching. Finally, I wish all of you a very joyous journey, a joyous voyage into the process of teaching, the profession of teaching, and thereby one's own individual self-exploration. Thank you.
Professor Ravindra was my teacher at UVC when I did my B Architecture. He taught us history and theory of architecture, architectural design, sociology, and planning. I consider him probably to be one of the best history and theory of architecture teachers in Karnataka. Even though he was probably one of the best teachers, I paid very little attention to his history and theory classes during college. This is due to the prevailing view that this came from our seniors actually, who used to say that theory and history have little relevance to what we call as the contemporary architectural practice. Even though Professor Ravindra disagreed with these views, but that was the view. I only later in my career, I realized the importance of theory and history of architecture in architectural design. Today, I totally agree with Professor Ravindra. Not only history and theory, even subjects like technical subjects like building construction, structures, which should be taught like a history class rather than a technical education. I was fortunate. I was a student of his. I had the fortunate to work with him in 2013 to 16 when I was selected to be on the board of studies for the VTU, Visvesvaraya Technological University, where the board was assigned the job to revamp the curriculum for B Architecture. At that point, I realized the knowledge and experience of Professor Ravindra, and I just called him on to be with us to help us with the curriculum. And this is very interesting because Professor Ravindra was a professor in Bangalore University, and he had nothing to do with VTU, and he didn't have any job position at VTU. Neither did he have any sort of remuneration that came with this position. However, he was fully committed to this whole curriculum revamping process. And this is what, according to me, is all a good teacher or a true teacher is all about. Because your commitment is to education and not necessarily to who it is and what thing it is. Because you have it and you want to give it to people, and whosoever takes it just takes it. And he's an example of simple living and high thinking. He is a true example for this. He is always thinking beyond himself, and he's always ready to help. Then the transition, first I happened to work with him, and today if I were to consider with him, he's a friend. Why would I say that? Because if you really look at it, you need 4 kinds of friendship to complete yourself in your life. First set of friends are what we call as the networking friends. These are the friends who help you in expanding your professional circle, business, building businesses and making money. Next set of friends are what we call as the trusted friends. These are the friends whom you can have a privileged conversation, who gives you the gift of vulnerability. This is what trusted friend is all about. And then we have this third set of friends who are called as childhood friends. These are the friends who don't care about your wealth or position. You can be yourself with no pretense. This is the third set of friends. And the fourth set of friends, it's called as intellectual friends. These are the friends you engage in critical thinking, research, and reflection about society. So why am I telling all of this? Professor Ravindra got introduced to me as a teacher, but now he's become my intellectual friend with whom I discuss regularly about my profession, research, philosophy, society, etc. I hope to collaborate with him on social projects in the future. I wish him good health and long life on this Teachers' Day. Thank you very much.
Dear teachers in architecture, I feel privileged and honored to talk to you all on this occasion of Teachers' Day 2020. I have had the opportunity to serve as a teacher in architecture for almost 4 decades. I enjoyed doing it, every minute of it. All of you must have heard the famous Sanskrit slokam, Vidya Dadati Vinayam Vinayadyati Patratam Patratva Dhanam Prapto Dhanam Dharma Tatasukam. All must follow this to get happiness in life. The recent educational policy says that educational methods are changing, and we must suitably adopt the necessary changes in our discipline also. Teaching is a self-reflective statement of your beliefs about teaching and learning. It changes your core idea about being an effective communicator in the context of your discipline, architecture and planning education. Adopt appropriate teaching methods for the learning process that demonstrate your skills and abilities in the classrooms or in a training environment. When your students get out of the institution, they must possess the knowledge and exposures to fulfill their adopted job requirements. If they are happy, then you are the winner. Thank you.
Namaskara. It gives me immense pleasure and great honor to speak about my guru, Professor Mukunda. As a student, Mukunda sir had inspired and taught architecture to me from the years 82 to 87. Subsequently, Mukunda sir introduced me to the academic world by bringing me in and inspiring to get into the teaching fraternity at the BMS College of Engineering, Department of Architecture. It was his confident words when he said, "You come, man, you can teach, come and teach," and made me sit across the table, write my biodata, and he took it and forwarded it to the management then. And this is how my teaching career started way back in the 90s. Ever since, I've had the great opportunity of having had Mukunda sir's influence into my academic career. Subsequently, when I came back to teach after my stint as the head of the department at Dyanand Sagar College of Engineering, Department of Architecture, as a visiting faculty in Dyanand Sagar Academy of Engineering, Professor Mukunda again gave me a platform to come as a visiting faculty and facilitated my continuation in teaching career. Every point of time, Mukunda sir has been a great source of inspiration by his support and academic guidance. I still remember when he shared all his academics on the internet and gave me the link, and he said, "Look, whatever I've been teaching in the last so many years is now available on the internet, and you people can freely access it and facilitate it for your teaching purposes." That is the true greatness of Mukunda sir. And I always feel indebted to him by the wonderful inspiration and guidance he has given me as a student and as a teacher. On this year of 2020, on the wonderful Teachers' Day occasion, I bow my head and offer my vandanams to Mukunda sir for all the guidance and support. Thank you, and also thank the School of Architecture, Dyanand Sagar College of Architecture, to have given me this opportunity to express my runa to my teachers. Thank you. Namaskara.
गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. Hi friends, I am Professor Nagendra, student of architecture. I have made two important points here. One is the shloka that I have just read out. We have been teaching this shloka to all our students, or at least in our schools, to be recited by the students at the beginning of the classes every day in the morning. But this shloka is as much relevant to teachers as it is to the students. This particular shloka highlights the importance of a teacher, that the teacher is equated with God himself. That means we are the responsible teachers who have to take care of the welfare of the students who are under our guidance. That places lot of responsibilities as a teacher on ourselves, so that we can deliver and guide and mentor all the students who come under our care. The second statement that I made, I am a student of architecture, though I have been teaching for last 30 years, is as a teacher, we never stop learning, or we should not stop learning. Learning is a continuous process. As long as we keep on learning, we will be able to mentor, guide, support all the students. My own entry or my own career as a teacher has been a kind of a incidental affair. As soon as I completed my postgraduate course from IIT Kharagpur, my professor called me to teach in my college, University Vishweshwaraya College of Engineering, Department of Architecture, and my first experience has been a very nervous experience. As soon as I entered the class and the department, my professor told me, "You teach history of architecture." Then it was actually a very nervous incident, because I had never prepared. I think I had already forgotten most of the history of architecture as soon as I joined my postgraduate course. But then I had to face it, I had to face the challenge, and as I tried to prepare myself and started looking for all my BArch notes, and sometimes I had to borrow my history of architecture notes from my colleagues also, so that I can prepare and start teaching history of architecture. So that was my most nervous experience of teaching, which happened unexpectedly. But it has never been looking back. It was my real enriching and most enjoyable experience as a teacher has been going on ever since, and I still continue to enjoy teaching. And we have a lot of responsibilities as a teacher, as in the beginning when I mentioned the sloka, that teachers are equally placed with gods themselves. With that comes lot of responsibility, and I wish you all a very enjoyable journey.
Namaste. I'm Prakriti Gowda, an alumni of UVC, Bachelor's in Architecture Batch 2004-9 and Masters in Urban Design from RV College. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the professors who have been a massive inspiration for my journey in the field of architectural pedagogy and practice. I have very fond memories of my college days at the lush green campus of Bangalore University. It was more like a home to nurture ideas that curated our initial days in the field of architecture. Professor Nagendra was one of my mentors during my BR course at UVC. He taught us architectural design and building construction materials subject. His short stature and high positive attitude are the best words to describe him. He always strongly related architectural design to experimentation and innovation, not only with the forms, but also with the ideas to be formulated, materials to be used, insisting on the principles and values to be acquired by the students, and more importantly, to have a line of thought as an approach to understand any given design challenge. And to make it a practice, he integrated design and BCM each time while teaching us in the studio. He had a great eye to detailing and used to sketch on our sheets over tracing paper and explain it to us. Also in design classes, he would make us do small product design innovations to expand our thinking capacities with simpler yet unique solutions, and would inquire as to how we would make it work and sketch it. He would be very positive and extremely cooperative in helping us let go of our fears of sketching the details. We usually used to connect with him because of this. So by making an attempt to understand his methods of teaching and reaching to us, very nicely he made it clear that all that knowledge is not just a transfer from one person to another, but the depth of understanding only comes from carrying a caring and a funny rapport between a teacher and the student. Few of his other realities were that he literally blended with us during group talks. When the semester end used to creep closer, his sense of urgency about the need to teach what he knows used to grow powerful. Along with the learnings during his classes, sometimes also followed were his memories from when he was in college. Listening to him used to serve two functions. First, to provide an opener to the present day scenario of the subject, and the other to the development of trust between teacher and the student. I believe he had crossed every student's mind often, and especially when the real times of application and decisions were asked from us in our early stages at office. Having seen him peaceful most of the times, a kind person, never aggressive when he discussed design in the studio, carried a cheerful attitude that projected confidence he kept in the students, was always the plus point for one to keep themselves interested in the subject. I believe his influence will stay much, much longer in many of our lives, who taught us to become something we could be proud of for ourselves today, for pushing us to meet our fullest potential, and being a motivation for the students who have been trained under him. Thank you very much, sir.
Happy Teachers' Day to all the teachers, the creators of all professions. A very good morning to all of you. I deem it an honor, a privilege, and a blessing to be talking about my gurus on this auspicious occasion. Shashtanga pranams and namaskarams to all my gurus. I'm Pushpa Devanathan, earlier known as Pushpa Iyengar, to my gurus in those bygone days. They were trailblazers. They showed me the path to discover and still keep constantly rediscovering and learning. Dr. Anantakrishna, I hold with deep reverence, the ultimate guru, having seen me through the initial years of learning at Manipal during the BR. A very, very systematic, young and disciplined teacher. He's a true mentor and guide till today, having given few lectures for MArch and a thorough guide for my research. His attention to detail, systematic flow, and sequencing of thoughts set the mood for trying to follow his dictum. His methodology and system embodied. Rigor is a must for Dr. Anantakrishna. A guru thorough, through and through, leading and enlightening. Watching my progress, my thesis guide for BArch, and giving sincere, exacting advice through my BArch and MArch, Professor Ravindra was the teacher everyone was scared of. The history of architecture sketches, drawn so very diligently, patiently on the blackboard, would bring alive all the buildings. We would gape in awe and knew in our hearts that we will never be able to replicate them in such fineness. His deep knowledge and habit of intense reading was what I wished to follow and emulate from Professor Ravindra. Professor Mukunda, my third guru, all from the era of BArch at Manipal, can almost be termed as a philosopher. Intense information, starting with the planning classes, and went on to handle estimation and costing. Never frazzled by so much of details, he would ensure completeness even if it was very, very heavy on our heads. He introduced the intricacies of professional practice, which to this day intrigues me and led me to do research on it. These professors have had a deep impact on my learning and paved the way for an analytical and a method-oriented approach to my teaching. My sincere thanks to all of them. It would be very small considering how today, being a teacher, the values that I have imbibed from them during the years from the foundation have laid by my gurus have found a deep learning within me. Thank you all, and thank you gurus for being there and being what you are. Namaskar.
Today is an auspicious day for everyone because we all have learned something or other from our teachers. So our teachers means what we call Guru. That's why the celebration of Teachers' Day is our culture, and it is a mark of respect to our teachers. That is what we call Guru or Acharya. In Upanishad they say Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava and Acharya Devo Bhava. So this itself indicates that teacher, that is Acharya, is considered as equivalent to living God, something like mother and father. We are very proud that Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, whose birthday is celebrated as Teachers' Day, he was a teacher or a professor in Mysore University of Karnataka before becoming President of India. I am also very proud to be a junior to all the veteran academicians of architecture whom we remembered today as part of our Teachers' Day celebration. Professor Mukunda, Professor Anant Krishna, Professor Ravindra, Professor Nagendra, they were all my seniors, and I have learnt a lot from them, and their interaction really helped me as an academician. Those who take on them, and they were also my colleagues. There are many architects from our state and other places who were their students, and they all have become very famous architects today. They were dedicated and committed their life for improvement of architectural education. I should congratulate Dr. Rama Subramaniam and Dhanasar College of Architecture for this Guru Vandana concept. I take this opportunity to thank all the teachers and especially teachers of architectural education. Let the achievements, works of our own teachers inspires and benefits the junior teachers and students so that they will become good architects, good academicians tomorrow. So this Guru Vandana concept is really very something different, and through this we remembered so many people and we came to know so many things about them also. So I take this opportunity for giving me an opportunity to talk about this Guru Vandana. Thank you.